Behavior shapes results. We're going to discuss it on the live. Okay, it's not magic. This is the real law of attraction. It's science, it's biology. All right, good morning. I'm Junior from Here For You Life Coaching, and we are going to go over this law of attraction thingy, right? Because people don't understand that this is subconscious. They don't understand that everyone manifests whether they realize it or not. Okay, they don't understand how it works. Okay, and it's not magic. It's being presented to you like magic, right? Oh, the universe will grant you this. The universe will grant you that. Good morning. Hey, there's Janice. Hi, Janice. Good morning. Hey, Elizabeth. Good morning. It's not magic, okay? The universe, okay, or you can say God, or you could say Source, or you could say Jesus Christ, or you could say Allah, whatever you want to say, because we're all the same in here. Okay, what we believe is a separate issue. That's separate. Okay? We are all human beings. We all have the same capabilities. Okay? And you see some human beings with nice cars and nice homes and good jobs and, all of that. And that's a combination of things, okay? Sometimes it's education. But I know a lot of uneducated people that make a lot of money with simple things, okay? Simple things in volume. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Hey, there's Sarah. Good morning, Sarah. Okay, so, but they make money in volume. Okay, I know this one guy that cooks, and all he does is he goes to Costco and he buys supplies in bulk. He goes to his kitchen at home and he prepares this Hawaiian thing. It's a Hawaiian food. It's called lau lau. And he prepares that lau lau, okay? It's pork and fish, and then it's wrapped in a tea leaf, and it's a Hawaiian thing, right? So for you people outside Hawaii, this may be foreign to you and it's okay. But I'm just saying he makes this stuff, okay, in his house, and he advertises it on Instagram, and he sells out every day that he makes it. I don't think he makes it every day, but the days that he makes it, he sells out. So you don't have to go to college to make a lot of money. Okay? You just have to find what works, and you have to go in here to get that answer. Okay? The formula is ask, believe, receive. When you ask and you believe in what you're asking, you will receive. Okay? Some people don't believe in what they're asking. Some people, they ask and they go, okay, well, it's a long shot, but yeah, what the heck, we'll try. Okay? So what I do is I often tell my clients, right, try to take the pen from my hand. And they go like this, and I go, no, put it back. They put it back. And they pick it up again. I go, no, put it back. And they put it back, right? And I go, okay, this is try. This is try. If you're trying, you're not doing anything. Okay? Trying is a non. So you either do something or you don't. You either believe or you don't. If you don't believe, okay, and I'm talking about believing in here, believing in yourself. You need to believe in yourself before you can manifest things. Why is that? Well, I'm talking about the good stuff, okay? Because you manifest no matter what. Look around you. Look at your friends. You have manifested your friends. Look at the things that you own. Look at your house. Look at the condition of your house, the condition of your car, the condition of the things that you own. You have manifested all of those things. So we manifest whether we know it or not, or aware of it or not. This whole magical, mystical thing is not very mystical or magical at all. It's your subconscious. Okay? Your thoughts shape the brain. Your brain shapes, okay, behavior. Your behavior shapes your results. Okay, so let's look at the subconscious tree. Okay, so the roots, okay, are your core beliefs, your subconscious beliefs. The trunk of the tree, okay, is how you see the world and your behavior, the way you behave, based upon what you believe. Okay? The fruits of the tree are your actions. The actions produce results. Okay? So if you want to change, if you want lasting results, you change the roots. If you want temporary results, just make a new decision. And then the fruits will give you a result. Okay, but the thing about that is, right, and some people do that, right? They start out, they go, okay, I'm gonna be, a brand new person. I'm gonna do whatever, good stuff or whatever, right? And they start doing it. But they don't work on their subconscious. And because they don't work on their subconscious, their results are temporary. So for a couple of weeks, right? For a couple of weeks, they're really good. Right? They make the decision, okay, I'm gonna be a better person, or I'm gonna get a better job, or I'm gonna get a better car, or I'm gonna get a better this or that, or whatever it is. And they start out with good intentions. There's an old expression that says the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And what that means is good intentions are just good intentions. It's only when you make those good intentions last does it mean anything. Okay, so they start out, right? And what happens? Well, about 2 weeks down the road, your subconscious kind of turns around and you go back to the old program. So it's very easy to program your subconscious. It's very easy to establish new programs. It just takes enough time to write a sentence every day, enough time to devote 10 minutes to silence, to just stillness. It's a challenge nowadays because our society, right, is so stimulus driven, okay? And when you get in the habit of engaging with stimulus, it's very tough to sit still. Very tough. Okay, it was challenging for me when I started, and I started in 2007. Okay, but let's go before that. Let's go to the 90s where I had to make a decision. I don't often talk about my life, or my private life is very private, and my public life is very public. Okay, but today I'm going to share a little bit, okay, about when I had to make a decision. So back in the 90s, right, I worked for this company. It was a radio station. It was a group of radio stations. And I was being discriminated against, like, a lot, a lot of hatred, okay, a lot of just really discriminatory things, okay, and some of it came from the boss, okay, but I'll tell you the story. So one day I was standing outside the sales manager's office, right, and so I hear the boss. I was just leaving, and I was a couple steps away from the door, and I heard the intercom beep. And so I kind of hung out to see what it was, okay, because people talked on the intercom all day long. And it was my boss, and the sales manager answered the intercom, and he said, "Hey, is Junior back there?" And she said, "Oh, he just stepped out. You want me to grab him?" He goes, "Oh, no, I'm just screwing with him." That's not the word he used. He used the F word. And I thought, "Oh, he's just effing with me?" Okay. So I'm the kind of person that, I was in the 90s, I was the kind of person I wouldn't put up with that. Okay. So I decided to fight back. I decided to push back. And that just made a bad situation worse. Okay. So the way it ended, okay, and this is going down the road a few years, okay, and the way it ended was I had to make a decision. Okay. I didn't learn these things that I teach now until the 2000s, until 2007. And my break, if you will, okay, came in 1999. So this is the mid 90s we're talking about. And so I was sitting down on my dinner table in my living room, looking out at this beautiful valley that I lived in. And I was having a bowl of cereal. And I had to make a choice. Like, am I going to do that? Am I going to engage in, lowering myself to their level because they were so discriminatory against me, right? I was so discriminated against, it wasn't even funny. Okay. But I didn't hang out there. See, I didn't play their game. I didn't try to get in the clique. I didn't do any of that because I had my own business at home. Okay. I had a recording studio, and I had a business, my first company. Or the second choice. So that was the first choice. The second choice was, am I just going to resign and move on and have faith that I can get something better, that I can find something else? And then I prayed on it because I didn't trust my first, that first, the devil on the shoulder part, right? I didn't trust that part. I'm like, well, I better pray on this. And so I prayed. And the answer was no. Just resign. But resign with love and resign in a good way. So I went down to Chinatown and I bought 45 lays. And on a Monday morning, I walked in and I gave everyone in the office a lay. Okay? And the majority of these guys all discriminated against me. The majority of the larger number of them. And I gave everyone a lay because I decided to leave in love. So for those of you who are not from Hawaii, you're listening to me outside of Hawaii or watching me outside of Hawaii, a lei is our flowers that kind of go in a circle like that, okay? So I bought 45 leis. It cost a little bit of money, but that wasn't important. What was important is that I left in the right way, and I gave everybody a lei, and I left with love. Even the people that hated me, I gave them leis, right? And I left. And everybody was smiling and like, oh yeah, oh, oh, you're leaving. They were happy to see me go, very happy. I was happy to go. I was relieved when I walked out of the office after giving everybody a lei. I was like, oh, whew, like I had to shake it off. I had to shake it off. And I left. And a couple of months later, I joined this new company, okay? And I was asked to sit in on this radio show. It was the #2 radio show in Hawaii. Very, very popular. And I sat in for 1 week. And the rest, as they say, is history. And you can plug my name into Google or any AI and see what that is. Okay? But that lasted 15 years on that radio show. Okay? So, is God real? Yeah, God is real. Because if I made the other choice, none of this would have happened. No radio station would have hired me anymore. All kinds of bad stuff would happen. I would have gotten sued, guarantee. Okay. But you see, it takes a conscious choice. It takes a decision to go, no, I am going to do the right thing. Okay? It was a moral decision. It was an important decision. But that decision opened the giant doors. It opened the big doors. Now, the guy that, invited me to sit in on his radio show had no idea. If he knew that would take off like that, if he knew that my career would take off like that on his show as a part of his show for the next 15 years, he never would have done that. Okay? But it just happened and the doors opened. So on the third day, and I have a podcast about this, you guys can go to my podcast and listen to the stories. Okay? So you can listen to the story. It's called The Third Day. And on the third day, I went on a Monday to sit in. By Wednesday, I just had this intuitive thought. God just came in and gave me this intuitive thought. And the intuitive thought was, this is it. You better sing for your life. Because I brought my guitar and I was singing on the radio, which is what was part of the attraction. I think. I don't know. But I think that was part of it. Nobody played guitar and sang on the radio. I was the only one. So anyway, that was the beginning and the doors were opening. But there were a lot of changes that I had to go through. There was a lot of personal sacrifices that I had to make. But I don't talk about these things in public. I've been offered many podcasts. People want to have me on their podcast all the time. They go, oh, Uncle, please come on a podcast. I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you. And I turn it down. Mostly because I have my own podcast. So I politely, say, oh, thank you. One day maybe I'll go on podcasts, but certain people will not like what I have to say. And so I don't really say too much about these things. But the reason I wanted to tell you that this morning, okay, is because you need to make a conscious decision to change your life if you want to change it. Some people are happy with the life they have. I was really happy with the life I had after that. Okay? In 1999, my career just went pew. It went like that, really quick, really fast. What you would call an overnight success, okay? But it was years and years and years of trying. Nothing was working. Years, okay? And then when that happened, I was heavy. I was heavy. I was like 260 pounds. And I had to make another decision because the career was going like this and my health was going like that at the same time. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to die right in the middle of what I've waited for my whole life, right? And I wanted to do my music. So I had to make other changes. It wasn't easy. But what made it easier was in 2007, I broke up with my girlfriend at the time. And there were a bunch of girls and, whatever, different relationships and whatever at different times. So the career went, like that. And I broke up with this one girl. And she did a lot of personal development. And she said, you know what? If you really want to get to the next level, because I was trying to figure out the next level. What's the next level? Okay. And that was my big mistake. I was trying to figure out how. Okay, that's the left brain. Logic. Trying to figure out how. How am I going to do this? The how is God's job. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. God, the universe, source, Jesus Christ, Allah, however you believe, whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in. Okay, but it's their job, not yours. Your job is to figure out what you want to do and why. That's it. I had those figured out. That was a give-in. But I was trying to figure out how to get to the next level. So she gave me a copy of Rhonda Byrne's The Secret. At the time, I did not know it was subconscious material. I did not know it was all about the subconscious. And she gave me The Secret. And, The Secret, right? So it sounds like some kind of mystical thing and, maybe rub the lamp and then genie comes and you tell the genie what you want. But it's not like that. Okay? It's subconscious. And I let it sit in my top drawer, my socks drawer, for 1 year. Because I didn't want my life to change. Because I was doing engagements, I was doing shows, I was doing radio, I was doing television, I was doing all of the things that I was fantasizing about when I was 12 years old, I was doing. And I didn't want to change it. I didn't want to be responsible because I knew that with knowledge comes responsibility. My first mentor told me that. He taught me that. He pounded it in my head. He said, if you know, you're responsible to that knowledge. And I was like, oh, okay, then don't tell me anymore. I don't want to hear it. So I left that DVD in my drawer. I didn't watch it. And it stayed there for a year. One day, a year later, I was looking for, I don't know what I was looking for, some socks or something. Okay. And I went in my drawer and I saw the DVD and I'm like, I'm going to throw this thing away, right? I'm going to throw this, I'm going to dump this thing. But before I dump it, I'll just watch it. I'll just take a look at it. Because I'm always open to information. I'm always open to education, okay? I had been a teacher. I was teaching the whole time. The whole time I was on the radio and television doing shows, I was teaching. Okay, so I've always been a teacher, so knowledge is important. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see what this next level is going to be about. And I watched the DVD. And when I saw it, everything that my first mentor taught me from 13 years old was on that DVD, plus more. So 40% of what was on the DVD was confirmation. 60% was new knowledge, quantum physics, string theory, all of this stuff. And I was watching, wow, these are all experts in their field. And they're all talking about the same thing, okay? Except Rhonda Byrne didn't present it as subconscious learning. Okay, I had to go down rabbit holes to find that part. Because it's marketing, because they want to make money. So I understand, I get it. It has to be a little mystical, right? It has to be a little bit of magic involved for the human being to be interested. And I think I played that DVD over 100 times because I wanted to memorize all this stuff, right? And then what I did is I started putting it into action. I started doing affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. And in 2 months, I walked into this dealership because I thought, okay, new car sounds good, right? So I did the visualization, I did the affirmations, I did all of this stuff. And one day I'm driving down this highway that we have in Hawaii under this viaduct, and I see this dealership. And I go, you know what? It's time to test the theory. Because I was tired of rebuilding the old car that I had. I wasn't that old, but it was a Maxima. It was a secondhand Nissan Maxima. And I was just tired of repairing. So I drove in. And in 4 hours, I drove out with a $58,000 car on signature, no down payment. And it was in the middle of the recession. Well, the recession was just starting in 2008. The stock market was going like this. So I got a really good interest rate. I didn't know what my credit was. I didn't know anything. I don't check on those things. I just work. I just do what I do. And I could not believe that I was driving out of the dealership with a brand new car. I was like, whoa. And it was scary, okay? But that's how deep the conditioning went. And I'm talking about the conditioning when I was a kid, and all the adults, every adult that I knew that came to my house when I was a kid, all said, well, it's really stupid to buy a new car because you lose all that money when you drive it off the lot. And here I was driving it off the lot. You think I thought about losing money? Absolutely not. I was like, whoa, the spell is broken. What was the spell? It was my subconscious. It was a prior program in my subconscious. From 2008 till now, the only thing I know is that I always have new car smell. That's what I judge by. You know, so I get in my car, even now, I lease cars now. I've leased like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars now. So like for 12 years, it's been leases. And I get in the car still till today and I go, you know, oh yeah, still there. Okay, I'm not dreaming. You see? But in order to change your subconscious program, okay, you have to be committed. You have to be dedicated to it. Some of my clients just completely changed their lives. Completely. Like 180, complete turnaround. 360, complete turnaround. And some of my clients have a very, very hard time. In fact, I'm working with one right now. And the difference between success and failure is the belief in the subconscious. It's how deep the programming goes. And it also involves emotional trauma. Okay? Because if you come from a poor family, if you come from a, let's say, you know, like my grandparents were in the war, okay? My mother was raised in the war, during the war, okay? So the mindset is very different. And when I came along, right, there's no war. There was no wartime type environment or economy. So I didn't know that. So it was a little bit easier for me. But till today, when I talk to my mother, right? It's that wartime mentality. It's that scarcity that exists. So if you can overcome those things, okay, and sometimes there's trauma. Sometimes, so trauma is an emotional event that sticks out and it resurfaces when it gets triggered. But if you can get past that, if you can get past the mental blockages, because those are the only things that are stopping you, because God is real. There's the spiritual and there's the physical. People are so distracted into the physical world, into what the physical world says is real. And this is what Gautama Buddha was talking about when he said, the man who sees life as an illusion escapes suffering. He was talking about mental suffering. He was talking about the subconscious. The illusion are man-made things, man-made systems. The belief and the trust in man-made systems. So I had to go to the other side. I had to go into the spiritual. I had to go in here. I had to be still. I had to do affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. I had to pay attention to what the quantum physicists were saying. I had to pay attention to that paradigm shift that Bob Proctor was talking about. I had to pay attention to the affirmations and what they said and the I am. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. He said it for a reason, so you don't go without. He was talking about in here because you're a spiritual being in here. You're a spirit in here. And this spirit is eternal. This spirit is eternal. You're here. Otherwise, you can't be here. You're going to go. When your body gets too old, it releases you. It lets you go. When I started coming from the spiritual end of things, life changed big time. Things became easier. Things became flow. Sometimes money slowed down. Clients leave. Okay? Things go up and down in the entrepreneurial world. They go up and down. Don't think because somebody owns a business that their bank is full. Okay? Not all the time. Sometimes it goes way, way down. Okay, like the recession. The recession was really, really spooky. But I had a brand new car in the recession. When no one would buy a car. I mean, I didn't see anybody else in the dealership when I was there. Everything slowed down. The market crashed. Everybody slowed down. Everything slowed down. The economy slowed down. And I was in there signing for a new car. It was crazy. I didn't think about the market. I didn't think about anything other than I have to break this spell. This subconscious spell. Subconscious programming. Okay? And different people have different spells going on. Okay? It's not a spell from a wicked witch. It's a spell that was placed there in your thoughts, because a thought, okay, repeated over and over and over becomes a belief. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Now, when you change your subconscious programming, everything changes. Your perspective changes. The way I look at people changed. I look at people as spirits. I deal with spirits every week. Sure, they appear in physical form, but I see them in here. I look in their eyes. When I meet people in person, I look at their spirit. The eyes are the mirrors of the soul. The voice is the mirror of the feelings and emotions. If you know how to look at a pair of eyes and you know how to listen to a voice, you can tell a lot about a person. The universal law of correspondence tells us whatever's in here is going to show up out here. And I always say this because it's important. Look at, if you're in an office, look at people's desks. You see the ones that are really organized? They're organized in here. The ones that are really chaotic, things are thrown all over the place, they're chaotic in here. Okay, the prison is in here. Everything is a reflection on their state in here, the state of their kingdom. Everyone is a king or queen of their kingdom. The kingdom is within. It's the title of my new book. Why is that important? Because you can live from in here. And this is why Jesus gave you the secret, the biggest secret. Okay, it's not the law of attraction. The law of attraction is only one universal law out of 12. The biggest secret is seek first the kingdom, and all else will be added unto you. Because your life path unfolds like this. Okay? Life doesn't happen like this. It doesn't happen to you. If you think that life happens to you, you're suffering from victim mentality. Life unfolds for you based upon what you believe in the roots of that subconscious tree. So I had to overcome that belief. And the spell was broken when I signed the contract. Because when I signed the contract, tears rolled down my face. I was crying. And the finance lady goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." But I was crying because I broke that conditioning. I broke through the conditioning. And the contract represented confirmation for me. Okay, I'm signing the contract. This has to be real. Okay. And the number one bank in Hawaii okayed the loan. I didn't know what my credit score was. I don't bother with those things. I just do my work. I just focus on work. I could care less about the physical world. I have to endure the physical world. I have to live in the physical world. But Christians have a saying. They say, you can be in the world and not of the world. You can be in the world and not put your faith in the world. Because the opposer, the opposition, is the physical from the spiritual. You're not going to hear anybody in Sunday school talk like this, okay? But the Spirit is in here. The Holy Spirit is in here. It's in you, if you acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, fine, you can ignore it your whole life. Some people are prisoners in here, and they never come out. They never make it out. Because this is a good place to hide. It's very convenient. You can hide in here forever. But when you start to discover the kingdom within, everything in here, okay, affects everything out here, and everything out here reacts to everything in here. So you make the changes in here first, and then everything out here changes. And all of a sudden, you think that life got better. No. You got better. You acknowledge the kingdom. Now you're working within the kingdom. Now you make the changes in here, in your subconscious. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Everything out here begins to change. All of a sudden, life begins to get good. It gets easier. It gets smoother. It flows. You get into flow state. Then what happens? Money comes. Love comes. Everything comes. Evans. Does money? Those things. So you save as much as you can. You live really small. Now your life is the most important thing, okay? So if you're living small because you need to put everything in the bank, or if you're living small because, I have a friend like that. He's a great guy, nice guy, good guy, but he lives small, right? And everything, gets put away, goes into investments, all that stuff, but he denies himself. And that's the life he will live. What about the other way? Well, the other way is the spiritual way. The other way is what Jesus Christ was talking about the kingdom within. And what you do in here is you seek the kingdom first, and you make changes within the kingdom, and then it attracts everything to you. Better opportunities, better people, better friends, okay, better relationships, better business relationships, better business opportunities, everything. Because everything out here reacts to everything in here. Your fruits bring results. Your fruits, okay? Remember, the subconscious tree, the roots of the subconscious, okay? Those are your beliefs, your core beliefs, shape your paradigm. The way you see the world, your attitude, your worldview, those shape your actions. Your actions give you results. So the brain doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Your subconscious does not know fantasy from reality. It cannot judge. And God doesn't judge. So you have three states of awareness: the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. God is the superconscious. Or if you don't believe in God, then the superconscious represents universe, source, however you believe. Infinite intelligence, all of that. Okay? But the same neural pathways fire when you imagine something. Then would you do it in person, in the physical world? So they have NFL players watch machines. They have machines, video machines, and they watch the plays, and they watch figures with their number on it run the plays. And when they get out on the field, they actually play better. And isn't it amazing that every 4 years in the Summer Olympics, records are broken for speed by a human being, just a little bit faster. Just a little bit. And it's been happening every 4 years since I've been alive, and I've been alive a long time. And I'm like, whoa, that's incredible. But that's how incredible you are as a human. Okay, so your brain filters reality based on belief. Okay, and your reticular activating system, that's the filter. It filters reality. What a person believes determines what they notice, what gets filtered to them, what gets shown to them, what sticks out to them. So let me give you an example. Okay, so if you have one of these, right, and if you're scrolling, and if you're seeing something in here online, and you're attracted to it, and you go, wow, that's a really cool BMW convertible. Okay, and you like it. Now in here, there's an algorithm. It will feed you more of it, and you'll see more like that. Maybe different colors, okay? But you'll see more convertibles, then more BMW convertibles, okay? Then more of the same color, all of that, right? But in here, in your brainstem, you have what's called a reticular activating system. It's a filter. There are a bunch of nerves that are filters. And what does that do? Well, when you're out here in the physical world, it goes, hey, look, there's a BMW convertible. Hey, there's another one over there. Hey, there's another one parked over there. Hey, did you see that one over there? And now you're starting to see, wow, BMW convertibles. But you don't make the connection that you saw it here first, and you start looking at it here, but your reticular activating system, because you're a human being, goes, hey, okay, that's what you're interested in? We'll get it from the real world for you. It's the same way with drama. It's the same way with anxiety. It's the same way, the things that give you anxiety here, your reticular activating system goes, oh, anxiety? That's what we want? Okay. And now it looks for it in the real world. And then you have a bigger problem, because it's not just here. You can't just put it down. Now you see it all over the place. Let's create emotions. Emotions changes your body chemistry. What happens when that happens? Well, when you get a thought and you mix it with emotion, guess where it goes? In your subconscious as a belief. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. You keep thinking about it. You get excited about it. You keep thinking about it. Pretty soon, what happens? Your subconscious starts to find avenues to go down to make it a reality for you. You know, you ever been thinking about your friend, your bestie? You keep thinking about your friend, keep thinking about your friend, right? Excited because, like, oh, I miss your friend, right? Emotion, okay? Miss your friend. Oh yeah, yeah. I hope I see her soon or him soon or whatever. And then you go to the mall. You run into them in the mall. Coincidence? The job of the superconscious is to work off of what's in the subconscious. So whatever you believe is what starts to happen in your world. Life is a mirror. It's a mirror. So the things that are in your subconscious as a belief, you're not aware of until they get triggered. And then you go, oh yeah, okay, that's how what I think of that. That's the opinion I have of that. If you don't want it, you can get rid of it. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. If you put my name into any browser or AI or anything, okay, I've been teaching this stuff for years and years and years. Just put teaching method after my name. Everything will pop up for you. And you'll know how to do it. Okay? The subconscious mind is programmed through repetition, emotion, okay, visualization, okay. Once these things are repeated in the subconscious goes, oh, okay, that's what we're doing, okay. And then it starts to repeat it. This is where bad habits come from. This is where good habits come from, okay? The difference between a good and a bad habit is it's not very difficult to form good habits. It's really not. I had to do it. I still do it. Here, let me show you. So I keep this here, and I show it to people every day. Okay, so these are affirmations. This is not journaling. If you're doing journaling, be careful what you're journaling about. Because whatever it is that you're journaling about is going into your subconscious. So if you're journaling about drama, you're reinforcing it into your subconscious. So repeated statements, repeated behaviors become beliefs in your subconscious, and they become patterns very easily because you're very susceptible. You're highly programmable because you absorb all this information. Okay, when you're walking through a mall, you hear all the sounds around you. You know, the smallest little sounds around you, the music playing, the people laughing, the people saying things, it's all going into your subconscious. And whatever you hold on to becomes patterns. Whatever you release or ignore, okay, the root word of ignorance is ignore. Whatever you become ignorant of or ignore doesn't bother you. It doesn't affect you. So this is why we're attracted to things. And the attraction itself generates an emotion, and the emotion generates a pattern eventually. It has to be repeated, but it eventually creates a pattern. So self-fulfilling prophecies are real. This is why Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're correct. Either way. So this positive thinking stuff, does it work? Oh yeah, sure. Does negative thinking work? Oh yeah. But here's the thing, right? Humans have negativity bias. So we always lean towards the negative. First impressions, we lean towards the negative. That's why people tell you first impressions are very important when you go to a job interview, when you meet new people. First impressions are very important. Why? because everybody looks for the negative. Why? It's an evolutionary thing. We're looking for threats. We want to identify threats. It's biological. You can't get around it. Okay? But when you make a good impression on someone, okay, it kind of offsets the negativity bias a little bit. Because you make a good impression, now you've offset their negativity bias a little bit, because now it's a favorable impression. So there's reasons why we hear these things. I coach executives, I coach professionals. And in my executive coaching, right, you'd be surprised what these highly, highly educated people learn. Things that they never considered before. Why? Because, well, in high school, they're preparing for college. In college, they're preparing for grad school. In grad school, they're preparing, you see, it just kind of goes like that. And then they jump right into the profession. And some of them are top-notch professionals. These guys are the cream of the crop, the very best. Multiple degrees, some of them. But college takes you like this, education like this, and it goes like this, and it goes, okay, this is who you are. Now you're the doctor. Now you're the scientist. Now you're the nurse. Now you're the attorney. Now, you see, you're the CEO. And most of this is achieved through the left hemisphere of the brain. But Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. Esoterically, it's talking about the right hemisphere of the brain. Why? That's where creativity comes from. That's where intuitive thought comes from. That's where connection comes from. That's where bonding comes from. That's where imagination comes from. Why is this important? Because the journey of Moses is the migration from the left hemisphere of the brain to the right, esoterically. Why is this important? Well, because ego resides in the left hemisphere of the brain, and ego always thinks it knows better. It's logical, right? So God is not logical. God is not part of logic. Science always tells you that, right? But science is a religion unto itself. Science is a religion. It will tell you certain things, and it will say that these things are because we can research these things. We have facts on these things. And some of that is really good. Some of that is very useful information, especially in biology. And the things I'm sharing with you is biology, the way this one works. But if I were to, let's say, get a degree or a PhD in what I teach, it would take me like this, and it would confine me here. Why? Because I would be a member of the AMA or, whatever, counseling or whatever. And they have rules and they have regulations. And there's certain things I wouldn't be able to say. And my clients are very happy that I can say anything. They're very happy that I can present them with all kinds of ideas to help them. Why? Because when you're trapped in the left side, when you're constantly working out of ego, your ego can imprison you. The promised land is the right hemisphere of the brain. You're a co-creator with God. You can create the life you want. You have to design it, you have to write it. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. You have to be still and know so you can escape the societal hypnosis. Oh, I didn't figure it out. Yeah, it was figured out a long time ago. A long, long time ago. So when you make the migration over from the left to the right, what do? You expand in creativity. If you put my name in any browser or AI, you'll see my family of service companies. I had to create them one by one. It took time. It took years. okay? One by one by one by one. But they synergistically work with each other. Can you do it too? Sure. I live the life I want because I designed my life the way I want it to be. Okay, can you do that? Of course, anybody can do that. It takes a little bit of application, less than 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes of being still in the kingdom. Okay? And I think this week we'll go over universal laws again. Okay, the universal law of correspondence is whatever's in here is going to appear out here. And this is why when you understand these things and when you understand certain principles, it's very difficult for people to hide from you if you know what to look for. The eyes are the mirrors of the soul. The voice is the mirror of the feelings and emotions. And this is why the voice affects the subconscious very quickly. There's two things that the subconscious reacts to right away: visualization and your voice. Okay, so visual and audio. But it recognizes you first. So if you write your affirmations, I have my clients write 100 affirmations, 100 positive I am statements when they first come to me. Sometimes they stop at 20 something or 30 something. Sometimes they don't get to 100. But after that, I have them read it in the mirror because it goes directly into your subconscious. Because your subconscious is witnessing your image and your voice. So it's much more effective than just writing your affirmation or just speaking your affirmation. So we have a process called self-formations, where you record your voice into your phone, doing your affirmations, and you listen to you read your affirmations to yourself at least 3 times a week. After 2 weeks, it starts to take shape. You start to feel a shift. It starts to work. After 66 days, it becomes a subconscious program. Expectations changes outcomes. Either way. If you expect the worst, okay, like the people that you hear these people, right? Oh man, if it's the last thing I want, and they talk about what they don't want, right? And now their subconscious goes, oh, okay, we're expecting that. We're expecting disaster. We're expecting whatever, and then it begins to happen. The vocalization exercise that we give liberates people from the societal hypnosis. A lot of people don't know that they're under it. They have no idea because 95% of your life is subconscious. So a lot of people sleepwalk through life. What I call the mouse wheel. Monday through Friday, they have their 9 to 5. Saturday, soccer for the kids, activities for the kids, Sunday, church, and then Monday back on the mouse wheel. But when you become more aware within, in the kingdom, okay, you begin to see these things. The veil begins to lift. You start to see the truth, and the truth will set you free. The veil doesn't stay up for very long. It goes up for a little while, then it comes back down. Because you have to get back to the clock, back to the calendar. But when I work these things with my executives, a beautiful thing happens. They start to see individual things as individual things and not one big group, not one big process, not one big system. And then what happens? Well, then life gets easier. Everything starts happening in flow state. Everything begins to flow. Gratitude is automatic because they see with gratitude, things get easier. Okay, gratitude changes your brain chemistry. It's not just a couple of words, thank you. It's not just that. It changes your brain chemistry. It makes you feel better. If you're having a hard time, thank you. If you're having, there you go. Perfect. Attitude of gratitude. Yep. Welcome, Mogali. It changes your chemistry so you actually feel better. When you feel better, you live better. Live better, feel better. Okay, feel better, live better, feel better. It's progressive. The other way is progressive as well. Okay. The more pessimistic you get, the worse circumstances become. The worse circumstances become, the more you resent it, it works that way too. Okay, that's the Henry Ford thing. But anyway, I'm getting the signal from moved out. I had to learn a whole new world. You are speaking truth. Thank you. Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you, user. Thank you very much. So I'm getting the signal from Jay, our moderator on this side. We have a chat over here. I am grateful to be in this live to hear good info and see you, sir, how smart and intelligent you present. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mogali. Thank you very much. Come back tomorrow. We'll be here, same time, okay? 7 a.m. Hawaii time tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm getting the signal from Jay, and I have to rush off to clients as well today. So thank you for joining us. We're on 7 different platforms. We're not going to name them because of the algorithms, but thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.